Oh boy. I hope you're buckled up because today's episode is probably the most epic thing you're ever going to see in 2020. In today's episode, it's a crossover between myself and legendary producer and DJ Akira the Don. If you're not familiar with Akira the Don, I suggest you follow him on all social media immediately, because what he's doing is revolutionary. Akira the Don has invented a category of music called MeaningWave, which features some of our legendary figures from our communities, such as Alan Watts and Terrence Mckenna, but set to very hypnotizing beats and instrumentals that turn these lyrics and vocals into mantras that you can use in your daily life. So let's jump into this vibe regulation set between myself and legendary DJ Akira the Don. Oh hey, this is Quentin from editing saying it's probably a good idea to turn your headphones down within the next 5 seconds because things are about to get a bit loud. You've been warned.
Twitch hero Alex says, welcome Quentin's Discord crew. Oh, we got Quentin's Discord crew in the place. Hey. Shouts out to Quentin's Discord crew. Hey, I think my guy's backstage already. Holy shit, he's early. But that's cool. I feel I should introduce him with a song. I got a perfect song for you. Yes. Yes, brothers and sisters. I'm going to play this joint. I'm going to play a bit of this joint, then I'm going to bring in the Quentin Experiment. Yeah. And I'm now bringing to the stage your friend of mine, that most beloved psychonaut.
The way I think of the psychedelics is they are catalysts to the imagination. They were back 100,000 years ago. The imagination, which was just this glimmering, this iridescence on the surface of ape cognition, was under the influence of the reciprocal feedback of self-reflection that is created by watching your own mind.
Yeah, baby, come on. Come on. All right, yeah. All right, what's cracking? What's cracking? We got the Quentin Experiment in the building. Is the sound working on this one? Hang on, let's check. Can you hear?
Check.
Can you hear me, my friend?
Yeah, I can now. Hurrah.
My dear friend.
Yo, victory. Victory is ours. It's working, baby. Wifey just upgraded. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Look at you. You all glowing and shit.
Yeah, you know, I had to come with that vibe, bro. I have the toga kind of going with the archaic revival. But I learned a lesson, Akira. I learned a lesson. I didn't take the acid today. What I did was I gave it to a friend. So I've actually been watching a friend on acid today in order to spare everybody else, so I got some sanity.
Hey, and you got Bob Ross on the shirt.
Hey, man, look at this. This is from Walmart. Probably not a place you want to support, but...
Shout out to Walmart all day, baby. We got Bob Ross on shirt, Bob Ross bubblehead on deck. Yo, got togas.
Shout out.
We got the flag glasses. Anyway, for the people, shouts out to the chat. Shouts out to everyone who has no idea what's going on here. They're just like, damn, there's a wavy individual. There's a wavy individual.
who vibing with my man Akira, favorite musician.
So, yo, Quentin Experiment, the experimental Quentin, what have you been up to? I'm going to ask you the question that Jordan Peterson asked me. What have you been up to?
Well, I'll tell you, Akira.
He said, what are you up to? That was it. It was more pointed. And I'll give you a little intro. He's a bad motherfucker who's intonated the future, and he has a YouTube channel that it's already doing incredibly well. It's going to be fucking huge in the coming years. He's right at the exact place where he needs to be as far as the culture is concerned, and as far as the culture is going. He's a fan of MeaningWave just like we are, and he's a bad motherfucker. So, Quentin Experiment, what are you up to?
Let me tell you, Akira. I've been talking to some folks in Oregon, and we're actually on the verge of some pretty revolutionary shit, my friend. We're on the verge of some pretty revolutionary shit.
Okay.
What we're working on right now is getting statewide legalization of psilocybin services. Mm-hmm. So you've seen some stuff in Denver. You might have heard about, decriminalization. Mushrooms aren't being really prosecuted as much and things like that.
Yep.
But what we're working on in Oregon right now is a statewide initiative that would basically build the infrastructure to have licensed psilocybin centers where people can go in a safe environment and have these transformative experiences. So I'm pretty hype about that. So I'm working on some content with them and getting signatures because we got to get this thing on the ballot, you know?
Well, fucking A, isn't that perfect timing?
Yeah, we're working hard over here, Akira.
Absolutely perfect timing. You guys know I've been talking for many years now about the cultural pendulum, the shift that goes from psychedelic to punk, essentially, and how we're at the peak of that nihilist punk, dark, whatever it is. I've been saying it would be 2020, summer 2020, that would be the peak of the horror. I would be specifically saying people would be outside smashing things and burning things and looting things and what have you. And then that fever will break and will swing very quickly back in the other direction into a very deep psychedelic period that will be more psychedelic than any we've previously had, because this time everyone's online, and this time it's going to be legal.
You're damn right.
And here
You're
we
exactly
go.
right. That's what we're doing, baby. So right now we're working on Oregon as the first damn domino. And guess what we're going to do? Then we're going to take Washington next, my home state. We're going to take Washington with enough signatures to get this initiative on the ballot, and we're going to give people the right to alter their consciousness legally.
Isn't that crazy that you have to do that?
Of course it is.
Like when you
friend.
put it like, you know what I mean? You put it like that, it seems so ridiculous. What? I'm allowed to change the thing that is more mine than anything else, that is the most fundamental to my so-called existence, that I can't even describe properly without that thing, and I can't describe that thing, and you're going to give me the right to affect that thing.
Yeah. How is that fundamentally different from a country where you can only have one type of haircut or wear one type of thing? If we can only have one type of conscious state, what type of country is this?
I mean, I think it's so much deeper than that, but that's completely true. It's absolutely baffling. But, you know, we've made incredible strides just in the past 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
In like people's understanding of this stuff and the research into this stuff. What got you into this world? What got you on this journey?
What got me into this world is being a super stingy materialist and having my my ass beat by a very, very high dose of psilocybin, which subsequently sent me on a pretty I guess, introspective journey, trying to figure out what exactly happened to me.
Really?
And how I can reconcile that with some type of a mechanistic worldview that feels dead. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let's break that down a bit. So how old were you at that point? What was the context?
I was 18 years old, and I was basically on the verge of entering college to pursue a scientific degree.
Right.
And I suppose I just had a bit of a chip on my shoulder about what these types of psychedelic experiences might be like. And so I, like a naive 18-year-old with a very large ego decided I would take double what the famous Terrence Mckenna had taken. And idiocy. This is nothing. Dude, I'm not recommending this if you're not familiar with magic mushrooms. Do not do something like this. But what it did, to make the story short, is put me on my ass, Akira. I basically had a fully transcendent experience. I was found on a beach by my girlfriend at the time, covered in sand, not knowing my name. I would have easily given somebody my car keys, anything like that. And basically, I recovered with her back at my house and just had this kind of I was just confused. It took me a long time to kind of think about what exactly happened there.
So how did essentially ODing lead
That's
you,
what it was.
and having a terrible experience lead you into wanting to go into that whole thing?
This is the paradox. It was probably, it was the most beautiful experience of my life. And that's the thing. I would never recommend this to somebody else. It's very dangerous. But for me, this strange, naive, egotistical move forced me to completely alter my lens of perception. You know, like I really couldn't keep this, basically, it shed all my layers of identity and reset me to what felt like my primal self. And I guess I'm still grappling with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's shit people will go their whole lives to get to that point. You took a little shortcut there.
Yeah, but it's, what's that line? Beware of unearned wisdom, so don't think you're any type of superhuman after these experiences.
Yeah.
These states of mind are fully reachable through other means.
It's an area that we seem to be putting a lot more effort and resources into understanding, really recently. Why do you think that is, outside of like the just cosmic, there's a shift or whatever?
I think that is because we have moved from the era of anecdotes to the era of evidence, and the evidence to even the most hard-hitting scientist is just, it's clear. I mean, these studies that are being done on well-being and things like that after these transcendent experiences induced by psilocybin are, these are leaping past error bars. There's no doubt here. And so that's, I think, what is causing some of the urgency in those interested in their medical application, because it's so clear now that to not be hypocritical, you must follow this inquiry.
Yes. And we basically just did it with weed.
Yeah. That's why I'm really excited about this model in Oregon.
It's an incredible thing. I mean, I remember watching like Doug Stanhope stand up from, 9 years ago or something. And he's talking about, they'll never give you weed. They'll never let you have legal weed. Because if you take weed, you're supposed to be going out and doing a stupid job. If you take weed, you're like, I could just stay on the sofa all day. That'll be fine.
Doug Stanhope, my friend.
What's that?
Doug Stanhope, my friend. My legal cannabis sits here right in front of you.
Yeah, right. And it's funny
here we are today.
One of the guys who kind of opened me up as a kid, like when I was 13 or whatever, was Bill Hicks, and he was saying the same, all that stuff. He was talking about squidging your third eye and this, that, and the other, and it's a ride, and why they won't ever let you have that. And Stanhope, he was kind of like Bill Hicks. If Bill Hicks didn't do acid, he just did speed and hookers.
Yeah.
He was like Hicks without hope.
I think one of the biggest reasons a pharmaceutical company would not want to encourage what's going on in Oregon and things like that is because psilocybin, while maybe they could take over the distribution of the molecule, is sort of almost a single-use treatment, maybe a multiple times in a few years. So really, that's pretty counterintuitive to the pharmaceutical model. Take your pills every morning.
Yeah, but the thing, I mean, exactly, and this is what the Stanhopes of the world were saying, that it will never happen. In the same way they'd say they'll never let you have the electric car. But suddenly we're getting all these things.
Organization is increasing very fast because of the internet. Discord, as just one example, is revolutionary.
Yeah, you're on Discord a lot, right? You're a big Discord guy.
I put probably 85% of my time into Discord.
Okay, so tell me about that, because I think that's an area that I'm underutilizing. I've had a Discord for a while, and very quickly it's got like a couple thousand people on it or something, but I barely use it because I haven't even worked out how to be able to respond when someone mentions me. It goes red, and then I click it, and I don't find myself, and I've just not put in the time.
Levers.
What's that?
There are a lot of levers and very interesting
so I need to watch some
Discord.
videos. But just break down for me why you think Discord is powerful and what it does for you.
Discord is powerful right now because it's cloaking itself as a gaming app, as some type of cute place where you can organize a server with your friends and create multiple channels and talk about gaming and all of that. But what if we flip this on its head? What if we had organized servers that had, for example, in my server, I have location-based channels where we can organize locally and talk about actually getting some activism done. Or what if we had a digital trip-sitting platform where people who are having a bad psychedelic experience could seek refuge in a safe area? And the amazing thing I think about Discord is its role system, and this role system allows you to attach permissions to it. And because of that, you can create all types of safe environments for people who might not want to be in another type of chat. And so this thing has just shot up. I think we're at like almost 13,000 now, and people love this thing. This instant form of community, people love it.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I said, we've had one for a little while, and we have a wonderful community over there, and it's just something that I personally have not involved myself in a huge amount. I kind of wanted it to be its own organic thing, and I didn't want to sort of police it too much in this type of stuff. But it's definitely something I think I'm underutilizing, and particularly
you inspired me to create the Discord. So how funny, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, you inspired me because I don't know if you realize it, but the amount that you interact with people who engage with your work is very, very noticed. And I noticed that very, very early in my YouTube career.
Oh, really?
And I took that to heart very closely. Like, I was like, okay, this guy likes every comment. And so if you go look at my YouTube videos, I like every single comment and I read them because they're no different than me. And so, and I love that because that's why I felt connected to you from the beginning, and it was genius. And so that's what I do in Discord. If people join, we're at whatever number now, you're no different if you just join now. Hey man, it's me. I'm just hanging out at home right now. That's what we can do now in this era.
Yeah, exactly. I was always on that. I remember, and because I kind of rejected the old music industry. The old music industry was like, we're above them. Just right down to the terminology. The word fans is like can be broken down to being quite demeaning, and I always sort of was against that. I recently now I know that people who use the word fan in a community, I'm a fan of such and such. That doesn't have a negative thing, and there's no need to reinvent the language, I guess, but. The mindset behind it, that you see it since Tom Hanks' disease happened and all the musicians and people had to start doing Instagram Live. But they pretend like the audience isn't there. They never interact with the chat.
Exactly, Akira. What is that? Because you know when you get maybe a post blows up, you know you're looking at least a little bit. And so I'm fascinated by these people who are extremely large and don't use their biggest leverage, which is to just engage and be a human with the people who are interested in them.
Well, because the whole head game is that you're supposed to be, as a star or whatever, you're not supposed to be a regular. And that's supposed to be the point of it, the mystique or whatever. It's like if you let go of that, you're just a normie, you're just a YouTuber, you're just this, that, the other. But the thing is, all those things are now bigger than the other things. YouTubers are now bigger than so-called celebrities. There aren't any movie stars anymore. The last movie star was probably Brad Pitt or someone. There isn't another generation of movie stars. There aren't any new rap stars. The last generation of rap stars was Kendrick Lamar's one, and that was considerably less rap starish than the Biggies and the Tupacs. There are no new true stars in those worlds. In those worlds where they distance themselves and think they're above their audiences and don't realize that don't act or engage as being part of a thing as opposed to separate.
Absolutely. And, you know, just another example of the Discord. Oh, I'm sorry, did it cut off?
No.
Just another example of the Discord, man. I was like, I wanted to, you know, get my army in here. I want everyone to watch. So everyone's getting the role of the wave, you know, for being in here. So that's an amazing technology to get your engaged people who love this, and they can have badges and stuff. And it's really fun for everybody. Like, I love it, man. It's a great time being in there.
Yeah, I need to do more. I need to just pay more attention to what can actually be be because that's what I haven't done.
It's hard when you're live streaming every single day of coronavirus. I see you grinding, man. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's always like you only have so much energy. You know, for the past couple of years, I've just been trying to make as much music as possible. But it's also important, you know, to get it to as many people as possible, and also the people who are getting it to be. What's been wonderful about Tom Hanks' disease has been doing these daily streams and hanging out with you know, all these people and getting to know them all and getting to know their names and their lives and what they're about and all this sort of thing is amazing. Shouts out to the chat. Speaking of which, shouts out to everybody locked in. Who's locked in? Who's locked in, Quentin? Lizard says Akira grinding all day like Starbucks.
Hey, frequency, show up for the wave. Yo, on the wave, baby.
Yo, melt me down the wave. Exactly. Good vibes all day in the frequency.
Good vibes, man.
Shouts out to the frequency.
Everyone knows Akira freaking got me to start this channel. I've been saying that from the damn beginning. You made that Naval album, and a young boy working in a chemistry stockroom over the summer was like, what do I have to lose?
That's so epic. That's so epic. Navala would love that as well. That's a beautiful thing. Well, yeah, I've been saying from the beginning, I saw what you were doing early on, and it was obvious that like you were going to do well. You're obviously coming from a good place, and you understand what's necessary and what's required. And you're doing something useful. You found a purpose with some meaning attached to it. Like
that's my song. Boom. That's my song. I'm requesting at the end of this: pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient.
Hey.
Because then you end up talking to Akira, vibing for a bit, you know?
Right. What a goddamn time to be alive.
Make some damn sacrifices.
What a goddamn time to be alive. Shouts out to the chat. Does anyone have any questions? Well, you got your boy here. Well, we got the Quentin Experiment in the building. Clovier says here before 5K. Astro Guy 16 here from the Discord. Spooky Ghost Gamma here from the Discord. Shouts out to that Discord. What a time to be alive.
Shout out. Akira's gonna get on that Discord game. He's gonna take over.
Yo, you got mad Discord gang up in this thing. Discord hype, frequency gang.
Yeah,
hey.
Man. Discord's got that shield on. I see you, technology. I see you, revolution in technology communication.
What a time to be alive. Lizix says, does he say he's in Oregon? That's not a Washington Beach.
I'm in Washington, my friend, but you know what? We got to help our allies down south because sometimes, you know, there's battles among different areas in the nation. So I'm down in Oregon right now helping out the homies, and then we're going to move up to Washington to strike.
Damn, baby. So
this is no joke here. I'm coming to California too. Watch out.
You better holler at me when you're over here, boy. You better holler when you're in town. We better get something cracking. Maybe they'll be letting us outdoors by then and we can have a rave. You know what I mean? Yeah,
baby. Man, I'll go to any MeaningWave concert. That would be wild. I don't think you get, let me just say, because I might not get this opportunity again, like how much I bump this stuff. These are daily mantras that create like a soundtrack to almost every environment you're in. Oh, you're gonna lift some weights? How about you put on some Jocko? Oh, you're gonna go to school and have some discipline? How about you listen to some Jordan Peterson on the treadmill for a bit? Whoop. Okay, Akira. Now I'm kicking back, listening to Wattswave, and that's why we're standing in Wattswave right here, helping out Akira.
Whoop. Let's do that thing that you do where you press refresh. It's very exciting doing this stuff. I've never done it before. You're like, ooh.
You know, my Akira, my homeboy, just surprised me, and he got me 2 vinyls of you.
No, your homeboy just got you 2 vinyls.
Yes. Shout out Drango the dude, man. He just texted me. He said, "Quentin, you better get a damn record player, my friend."
Ah, Django the dude. What a dude.
Shout out Drake. He's watching this right now for sure.
Shouts out to Django the dude. We on that. Where we at? We are at 7280, baby. Yesterday we were at 13. That's pretty good going for a goddamn day. We're gonna be with shuts at midnight. The thing shuts at midnight, so we know how many people actually want, and we make the right amount. And I don't fill my house with boxes of stuff, and you know, my son starves. God damn it, because he's a hungry little boy. He's 7. You know, them 7-year-olds eat a lot of stuff. God damn it.
My dad would always freaking. He would always condemn me for how much food I ate.
Condemn you. Condemn you. Quentin Experiment. Stop eating all the food. Yeah, but you grew all big and strong and shit. Like, what do you want? You know?
Big, not anymore, man. I feel like my muscle is just weakening ever since, you know, Round Boy came into the picture.
Ever since what?
That virus, you know, Round Boy.
Oh yeah. Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, the man himself.
That Tom Hanks. Yeah. You know, I've been getting it so hard. I installed a pull-up bar, you know, and I created some new habits. So I started doing this stream every day, and so that's good exercise. Yeah. My fucking calves look like fucking cannonballs, baby. Ooh.
Man, how do you maintain vibes so long? Because I just watch you sometimes, and you're just, you know, you're just in here vibing. Ooh. Like I just need to learn that, because my vibe is about 6 hours long.
Really? You got a cap on your vibe?
I got a, you know, it's not a cap, but it's like an engine. You know, you're going past the limit, and so once you vibe too hard, you might not vibe again. You know.
Well, you know what Goggins says about that. You know?
I know what Jocko says. Good.
Yeah, and what Goggins says is, you know, we all got a governor. You know, and that governor's like fucking 40%. You know, there's another 60 after that. You know what I mean? Sure. And I think you got another 60. Because I definitely did. I thought I had an amount. You know, when I was DJing in clubs and shit, I thought there was a certain amount I had. And then I cranked that. I blew the top of that. When I stopped drinking booze in clubs, I realized I had way more in me than I did. And so then I leveled up off of that. And then doing this, I realized I cranked up another couple levels and found another couple things. And also there's such a thing as being able to like harvest energies and shit, so I'll be getting that energy out the chat. I was always wondering if you could do it digitally, because you could do it in the club. You're in the club, you're in this sort of triangle, right? You're in the center of this energetic triangle, and you're doing this transfer, you know what I mean? And they give it to you, and you give it back to them, and you distribute it correctly. It comes back, and you keep moving it like that, and it grows and it grows and it grows. So doing this thing, I was like, can this be done digitally? And it turns out it can. It's tricky, and things can fuck it up, and vibes can get deregulated and dispersed and stuff. But if you get it right,
you're right. I can feel it. Yeah. I can feel the vibes when I watch those live streams, like 100%. Like,
yeah, right. And so then if you redistribute that, and that could be done with fucking emojis, weirdly, it's very strange that you can do that with emojis. But also you can do it even without emojis. Like you can, even if people aren't typing, you can still fucking feel it. It's just a case of getting on that right frequency. And did you know about that shit? You know what I mean? It's not like we're really in separate places. We're not really. You know what I mean?
You seem to have an ability also, that which I love, to actually understand the humans that are perceiving you. Like you always strike me as someone who's like on the verge of creating something new. So I'll see, let's say, 100 people in a live stream vibing with you, and I'm like, Akira actually realizes that's 100 people vibing with him. Like, and he looks like it too, and you can feel it. Like, you're not like, oh, this is, I'm too good for this. This is, you just kill the show every single night. And people who are watching this, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch those live streams, because what he's actually doing is building a big, basically, bank of just fire performances while we're all kicking back later. Like, it's hilarious, man. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, thank you. You know, it's a wonderful thing to be able to do. It's an honor and a privilege. And, you know, we're all working this out. We're creating a new world right now. That's what's going on. We're in the process of...
A new order.
Yeah, like, exactly. There's lots of different ways you could put that shit, but that's what's going on. You know, when they burnt London down, the reason London is you can't navigate that hoe. It's very confusing. It's all wiggly and all over the place, and it's because when there was the Great Fire in 1756 or whatever it was, people were just reclaiming the land in random orders. It was just like, right, I'm going to have this bit's my bit, this bit, blah, blah, blah. And they've just built this new city on top of the burnt old city. You know, we're in that position right now. That's what's going on right now. It's a land grab for the next world, for the new world. We're in that liminal in-between space, which is an epic place to be, because we all get to participate in the creation of this next thing.
Look, man, chaos always gives birth to something new. Like if you just always, sort of take your human self out of this picture and look at it like the anthropologists digging up our skulls in a few hundred years will, you can kind of see what's really going on here. This is the course of things.
Yeah. Shouts out to Littlefinger. What's it the boy Littlefinger said?
I don't know what Littlefinger said from Game of Thrones.
He said chaos is a ladder. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wait, wasn't that Braun that said that?
Nah.
I mean, Bran. Okay.
Maybe you said it in the book, but it was in the... No, it wasn't. No, it was Littlefinger.
Nah, man.
It was
I
Littlefinger.
deferred to the Dawn. We deferred to the Dawn on the Dawn stream.
Bran wasn't saying nothing useful.
Oh yeah, that's true. Bran, he was a bit of a complainer. Like I could have had without him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to erase the last 4 or 5 seasons of Game of Thrones from my mind. I like the book. I always return to the books. The books were way more magical. They ruined it for me when Bran finds the guy he's been looking for, the Three-Eyed Raven. In the book, I remember reading that page, and I still remember it, the feeling it gave me and the visuals I saw, and it was very fucking magical and very creepy and very beautiful and simultaneously terrifying. It was that full shadow thing, And then you see it in the show, and it's a fucking old man sat up a tree. You're like, what? In the book, he's part of the tree. It's growing through him and out of him. His skin is like the same texture as the tree. It's this epic fucking thing. Like, you've just had some weird shit where, like, Bran's essentially just eaten Jojen, and he doesn't know it. The children of the forest have killed Jojen and made him into a paste and fed it to Bran. He doesn't even... There's all this creepy shit going on.
You're scaring me, Akira. You're scaring me. You're scaring, man. You're talking about, in the vibe zone, you're talking about people eating people as paste and...
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I thought you were okay today.
The thing that I hated about, the later stuff of Game of Thrones was, in the early days, you kind of could maybe project, or predict what people are going to do, because that's the strategy. You're like, he might actually do that, because
that's how people behave.
Should be strategic. That's how
that
behave.
Character behaves. Anyway.
But then it's how Hollywood behaves. So now I'm not interested.
Yeah. Exactly. They squandered something. At one point, that thing had potential to be one of mankind's finest artistic achievements.
I was a stan, and they hurt me. I feel like a girl that got her heart broken.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It was like between that and Prometheus. Like I will never be excited for anything that comes out of that industry ever again.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. And another thing I took after from you was I switched my that search page on Twitter to like a different country, man. And the amount of toxicity that just flew out of my life, like
right?
Where did it go? I don't even know where it went. It just evaporated.
Isn't that magical? If you don't know about this trick, it's one of the most epic things you can do if you're on Twitter. Just change your country of origin and your town of origin. I set mine to Tokyo. So my trending topics is just beautifully aesthetic hieroglyphs that I do not understand and the odd picture of an anime girl. It's fucking awesome. I don't see any of that shit that you're all shouting about. I don't see any of it. And I thoroughly, I choose the people I follow based on usefulness. And so therefore my Twitter is fucking blessed.
Hey, same here, man. Especially when you get a clean start, there's nothing like a clean timeline. And then we just start adding quality people. 1, 2, 3, quality.
Yeah, at one point I was just like follow everyone back type guy, and I was following like 15,000 people. And looking on Twitter was just like that bit in Superman where he gets too powerful and he can just hear everyone.
Yeah.
And he hears everyone wailing and crying and shouting and telling crap jokes, just everything all at once. And that's what Twitter was, Just
what was that ratio?
Yo, it's fucking
What was
overload.
that ratio of quality, quantity?
What's that?
What was that ratio of garbage tweets to good tweets once you were following everybody?
You know what I mean? It's just like you're looking into the void of like all of humanity's fucking everything all at once. But just which is kind of interesting. It's an interesting thing to do. And it's worth doing once in a while. It's like Ozymandias in Watchmen. He has all the TVs and he's watching the whole world to get the vibe of what's going on.
Tell me that reference. I don't know it.
Oh, Watchmen is a comic book from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
That's worth reading because it's culturally, it's worth reading, definitely. But there's a character in it who sets up a doomsday scenario. He thinks that the way to solve all of the world's problems is to fake an alien invasion and everyone will unite. This is an old idea. And when he's about to do his thing, he's about to unleash this thing, he's in his sort of lair and he's got TV screens of the whole world. It's kind of a thing that we now see. This was in the 80s. Now you've seen that kind of thing in like a Batman movie where everyone's phone's all being tapped or whatever it is. But the idea that you've got this visual link across the whole world into everyone and being able to see that all at once. Twitter's basically that now, depending on how you use it.
Twitter or again, like something like all these platforms now that I guess the way that I'm seeing this is like it's like the next evolution of what the subreddit was or what the forum was. These were all the incubation of this idea, but now the speed of communication has increased. So now I'm laying in bed talking to people internationally in a chat. You know what I mean? Instantaneously. And I think that slight difference of it being like texting a friend versus like sending a letter and not sure when people are going to respond has really changed everything in terms of connecting with other people digitally.
Yeah, and now you're on the cutting edge of the next phase of that, because we went through the thing which doesn't work, which is putting everyone in the same fucking room, which is Twitter.
Exactly.
And now we're moving into like more curated communities. It's all about curation with everything. The music industry was the first thing to get hit by all of this stuff. And the old music industry and all those magazines and all those gatekeepers, that got replaced with playlists and curation of of certain vibes. And people who were able to curate vibes. Those kinds of DJs became the new gatekeepers, tastemakers, etc. The same thing's happening with everything. Like you're curating a forum, a place for people to be, of like-minded individuals, a place that's,
I fear that too. Yeah. So I fear that we're entering the era of the true digital tribe, where it's the echo chamber with no door out.
Well, I would say that the potential is that, there are many rooms in the mansion, there are many pubs in the city. You can go to different pubs.
Yeah, you're right.
You go to a different bar to get a different vibe. Some people will always just go to the same bar and they'll sit there and da-da-da. But some people, they be going to different bars, catching different kinds of music, getting different flavors, talking to different people, getting involved in different situations, I see it more like that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like you're locked in the one bar and you're never allowed into the other one.
Unless you join mine, you're not out. You're not allowed out.
Is that the case? With the frequency! Frequency! Yo! Hey, Quentin Experiment. It's been fucking beautiful having you here. Let's do this again.
Hey, man, love talking to you. Sometime in the future.
Yeah, let's definitely do this again. There's loads more stuff I want to talk to you about, but I think this is perfect. This is a perfect bridge for our two communities. Shouts out to the whole Frequency crew. Shouts out to the whole Wave Nation. Shouts out to everyone in the chat. Anyone have anything they want to ask of Quentin very quickly before we go? Serious. Walking Malt Poet says this conversation is real. Yes, it is. Duryee says when the same dude is the owner of every bar, you're fucked. That is true. That is one way of looking at it. But you can always. We always break this shit. For example, here's a recent example. I keep saying to people who are scared and worried, I was like, every piece of technology they create that's supposed to imprison us, we then subvert and use for the opposite purpose. And that's always happened with everything, and everything has two purposes. When the first person picked up a rock and realized they could bang it into another rock and make a fire or whatever, someone else worked out they could cave a skull in. And when they created this recent technology to track people who had corona and all that sort of thing, that's now being used to track people who are smashing up people's houses and shit like that for small businesses to get their shit sorted when the police aren't helping them. That same technology they used to try and imprison is being used for the opposite purpose. That always happens. It always will happen. Humans are incredible creatures and have an incredible knack of very, very quickly adapting to new paradigms and turning instances of potential imprisonment or doom into freedom and glory. And that's always happened, and it will keep happening, baby, so don't worry. God damn it, don't you worry about a thing. You just focus on being the best goddamn you can be, and be a wavy individual, and hang out in them discords, baby, and have a wonderful time, and listen to MeaningWave. Ow!
Indeed, the revolution is here.
Yeah, baby. And it won't be televised, because no one watches fucking TV.
Nobody.
But it will be streamed on Twitch, on the Meaning stream, with Akira the Don and the Quentin Experiment. Shouts out to everybody locked in. Ooh! Ooh! Did you see that? Did you see what he just did there with the flip, and the flip?
We're bringing back ancient Greece, baby. It's the archaic revival.
Ow! Ow! Yeah, what is it about? What did Marcus say about the Greek lifestyle? The camp bed and the cloak.
And a cloak.
But all that. All right, pick a song, baby. Any song. Pick a song. Any song. We got you.
See what is meaningful, not what is expedient, my friend.
Shit, you already knew, huh? You already knew.
Mm-hmm. You know it.
It's very good.
Thanks for showing up.
Yo, thank you so much for being here, brother. Can't wait to do this again. shouts out to the fact that there's a song with expedient in the title. That's fucking cool. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? I don't even think it. Bap, this is for you, baby. Thank you so much for being here. Shouts out to the whole crew. We're going to be here all day, baby. We're going to be here on Twitch till 6, then we're moving over to YouTube. And then we're going to be here till midnight. Oh my God, what a time to be alive. Yo!
Meaning is what you have to buttress yourself against the tragedy of life. Despite the fact that you're a fragile, damaged, mortal creature, you found something to do that announced itself as worthwhile. That's meaning. It's an instinct. It's a deep, deep instinct. It's maybe the deepest instinct. It's like a form of vision. Meaning tells you when you're in the right place. And the right place is between chaos and order. And those are real places, your hemispheres. The right hemisphere is roughly evolved, let's say, to deal with things you don't understand. That's chaos. And your left is there to deal with things you do understand. You can't just stay with the things you do understand because you already understand them. And you can't just stay with what you don't understand because then you're lost. So you need to be in the middle of those two. And you can tell when you're in the middle because everything lines up.
Alright, and that's going to bring an end to the most epic collaboration of 2020 between Akira the Don and the Quentin Experiment. Thanks for watching the entire video if you made it to the end, and without further ado, I think it's time to get into the lovely Patreon list. Alright, here we go. Doesn't this feel like a Discovery Channel documentary? Alfredo, Adam Sornap, Alex Gilbert. Oh no! Oh no! Does nature really think it can stop my vibe? No wind shall do so. Alex Miser, Alpha Disconnect, Anti-Miko Machinen, Ashcore Draxon, Ben, Billy Gillis, Blue Dog, Caleb Talaxon, Cameron Plord, Chicks, Choosy, Chris Chapin, Chris Liver, Connor Nelson, The Happy Hour Show, DeAndre Jamal, Daniel, Danny Cameron, Dendare Lotus, Devin Hall, Dylan Brown, Eric Sear, Fishy, Jedimanos, Helvetia, Irate Llama, Jack Donahue, Jake Hall, JD Beats, Jeremy Schroeder, Jeremy Sorrell, Josh Farrell, Justin Boudreau, Corenda, Kelvin, King Ragnar, Lassie, Lee Ron, next column, Lithium Blodwin, Louis Le Louis, Lucky, Lynn Norton, Mate Orr, Mia Valentine, Miguel Navarro, Mike King, I'm getting lightheaded, Mohiuddin Sheikh, Morty, Night Slayer Bot, Oram McLeod, Oven Want Kenobi, Pineapple Dan, Professor, Quentin's, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, Rainbow, Rukaya Benoit, Robbie, Royan, Ryan Allen, Serup, Sebastian Reisinger, Secular Shaman, Sierra Butler, Sir Pugsley, Serena Sedegai, Sponabeer Steven, Surf's Up Tom, Tatum Scott, The Gaming Guy, 3-Pounder, Toxic Player, Tyler, Voyager, Zachary Daniel, and last but not least, because this is just alphabetical order, Zebediah. Thank you guys all so much for your support. You're absolutely the fundamental backbone of this channel. Without you, it's really hard to keep going. I'll see you next time.